Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter Rise, and in this one we are breaking down the brand new reveal trailer. If for some reason you've missed my last two videos I've uploaded, I uploaded an initial reaction just to kind of me seeing both the new trailers and also some of the new gameplay, but now we're going to sit down and break through this trailer because there's lots of very exciting stuff I want to talk about, and paired with the Monster Hunter Direct that followed and of course the information on the website, I can now give some more clarity. So if you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. Let me know in the comments down below, of all the stuff you see in the trailer, what is the one thing that excites you the most? I definitely can't wait to hear what you guys think. And of course, keep it locked because we are going to be bringing you all the Monster Hunter Rise content you could possibly want. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of content. In fact, not just Rise, stories too as well. Basically, Monster Hunter, you like it, you're in the right place. Anyway, enough rambling, let's begin. So the very first thing, of course, we see is the Palamute, who is, of course, running in the beginning of this trailer. Obviously, this is the CG part. Palamute is the name of the brand new dog companion, and this serves a number of different purposes in-game. Of course, you'll see that in some of the gameplay clips. You can use it to ride around the world, which is going to be important because we've, of course, also learned that this is adopting the open world map format. So we're not going to be taking a step back and going back towards like traditional Monster Hunter where you load between zones. This game does operate around a open map format. So obviously having that to navigate the way around is going to be very useful, but they also of course said it can help you in combat. You can fight with your Palamute, it has like a little blade in its mouth, which is incredibly cool, and you can customize your team. So you can either have two Palamutes if you want two dogs, you can have a Palamute and a Palico if you want a dog and a cat, you can have two Palicos, you can basically mix and match. And also rather excitingly, if you go into multiplayer, as you guys are familiar with, right now in Monster Hunter, if you go into like a duos quest, like just two of you, you can bring your Palicos. Meanwhile, if there's four of you, they all get left behind. But in Monster Hunter Rise, when you go into multiplayer, everybody can bring one companion. So everybody could have a dog, Palico, whatever you want. Either way, they're very cool, and also we get to sort of see a little clip a little bit later on in the trailer, which I'll highlight later, but you can also customize them with some, different scars and whatnot. Anyway, that aside, we jump back to the kind of CG part of it. Loving that armor, by the way. That's probably going to be the kind of typical starter armor, how they sort of like give you that, starter armor in these kind of games, like Portable Third, we got the Yukuma armor, that kind of thing. So I imagine this is probably that one. Looks kind of cool, and of course, visually speaking, we are in a very similar setting to something like Portable Third. It's definitely got that kind of Japanese aesthetic to it, which I absolutely love. I said this in my reaction video. Portable Third is one of my all-time favorite Monster Hunter games. I love that one so much. Sadly, never came to the West. I imported that one. Still have the Seal Collector's Edition, but either way, moving on from there. The next new mechanic we get to see, of course, is the introduction of the Wirebug. So this thing that looks like a grappling hook, it is not the Clutch Claw, it is called the Wirebug, and you can use this to get around. You can, of course, release it in any direction that you want, and it'll pull you in, according to the website, using a special kind of tough silk. This not only lets you traverse steep and rocky terrain at high speeds, but it can also be combined with your weapon attacks for some special combos, which are incredible. I will touch on those as we see them in this trailer, but safe to say, being able to work this in, I know in Monster Hunter World and Iceborne we have the Clutch Claw, we can kind of climb on the monster and do things like that, but this actually allows you to use it in combat. I'm talking like, a grapple straight into an attack, that kind of thing. Looks very cool, and of course just being able to openly explore the locales, there's definitely a much greater sense of openness in this game because you can see just the sheer scale of it. Your abilities are almost like, it kind of gives you that impression you can almost climb anything. Like in Monster Hunter games, typically there are walls you can climb and other walls that you don't, but this almost has that, I want to say, kind of Breath of the Wild feel where it's like, climb whatever the hell you want. So that is very cool. The trailer then transitions over to the village, which is called Kamura Village, and this is said to be a scenic village known for its Tatara steel. You'll find all the conveniences a hunter needs, like the smithy, other facilities, and all kinds of characters, but they said that the story behind this village is that after 50 years, the Calamity has returned. What Calamity? That is basically called the Rampage. The Rampage is something that ravaged the village 50 years ago, and it's about to occur again, so the inhabitants are effectively in turmoil. The hero has to become the best hunter there is, and overcome this calamity with the help of the villagers. So that's kind of the synopsis for that place. But again, setting-wise, absolutely love the visual style of this. It looks incredible. I love that kind of, the sort of admiral, general-looking guy who's clearly going to be like our main point of contact, so to speak, in the story. But yeah, that looks very, very nice. The trailer then goes on to introduce us to some brand new monsters, which look very, very nice. I'm going to say, I'm excited that some of the first things they've shown us are not wyvern. So, like, I mean, some of them are, but like not in the kind of conventional sense. I'm so used to just like a brand new Monster Hunter trailer comes out and we're like, hey, it's Rathalos or it's some other kind of variation of a wyvern, but I'm loving the kind of different aspect to these sort of things. Almost, there's a couple of them that kind of have that sort of Japanese mythology vibe to them, which I'm absolutely loving, again, fits with the theme. But we, of course, have Arekkz, who is a bird wyvern, so yes, admittedly it is a wyvern, and this one stands on one leg. It's said that its peculiar collar gives it the appearance of a monstrous parasol, and it's fiercely territorial, and whenever it finds intruders, it spreads its wings and unfolds its eye-like crest and head in a terrifying effect. We then have Tetranodon, which I absolutely love because he just reminds me of Zamtrios. He's obviously got his own unique moveset. I'm not saying it's a Zamtrios reskin, but just the way that he fills up his belly. I guess in that respect, it could also be likened to Great Jagras, but I don't know, I just saw Zamtrios as soon as I saw this one. He does, of course, eat lots of things, and depending on what he eats and, you know, the state that he's in, that will, of course, change the way that he behaves. That's pretty cool. We then have the Great Izuchi, which is going to be your typical sort of, you know, easy monster, probably one of the first things you fight. This is a bird wyvern whose tail has evolved into, like, a scythe-like shape, and it typically attacks in packs. So very much what we're used to with, like, Great Jaggy, those kind of things. And then finally, we get to see Magnum Marlow, who is the flagship monster of the game. He's on the box. He looks, honestly, he's probably one of the coolest looking monsters I've seen in a long time. They are not showing us too much of this right now because obviously they want to keep that a secret, and given the way that he appeared with this sort of purple like energy or mist, I'm guessing he's going to be very integral to the nature of the calamity. He is a fanged wyvern that's said to hunt its prey with relentless malice. Of course, we then go forward and we see Tobikadachi, which of course is a returning monster, which is kind of cool. We get to see some of the characters having a chat together. And we then cut to some of the hunters exploring the world, and this is what I spoke about before. There clearly seems to be customization elements. We can see that one of the dogs in the background is white. The one in the front has this sort of orangey kind of scarf to it. So there's definitely going to be some customization elements. You can even see the one in the far distance seems to have these big, you know, things around its legs. So that's quite cool. That's definitely quite cool. The next scene, we of course see that Azeroth is making a return, which is really, really nice. It was one of the early tier monsters you fought in Portable 3rd. Absolutely love that monster. And we then get to take a look at some of the new combat. And this is where things start getting flashy because, I mean, every time there's a new Monster Hunter game, they've got to kind of spice up the combat, and this is the team, like Ichinose is the director in this one, and he is the guy that's worked on things like Portable 3rd, like Freedom Unite, like Generations, that kind of stuff. So, you know, when it comes to the sort of the other team that make the Monster Hunter games, they definitely put their kind of crazy spin on things. You know, Generations had styles, and it's too early to say right now that this is, you know, styles. I think it's more so just new moves for weapons, but either way, it looks incredibly cool. We have like a dual blade move where you can of course like accelerate your way up the monster, which looks very nice. And then just before we jump to some of the other moves, we get to see Nursilla making a return, and this I'm very excited about. I said this before that some of the monsters that I would love to see returning in future games, I want them to be the different kinds of monsters. I want them to be like the bugs and the kind of crabs and those kind of things. And Nursilla is one of my favorite monsters just because it, of course, allows us to create Chernobog Scythe. Well, if that's, you know, Shrouded Nursilla. But yeah, if you guys haven't fought it before, Nursilla is a fantastic monster, and with that returning, definitely lays the foundation for some more interesting monsters to fight. So can't wait to see that. We then see the dog deploy some kind of umbrella. So again, I imagine that's some kind of, you know, in the same way that Palikos can use tools, I imagine the dogs can do the same kind of thing. We see the hunter sort of letting a bird go. Not entirely sure what that's for just yet. We see some of them kind of traversing around with some very cool armor. And now we're back into how the Wirebug can be used in combat. I mean, look at this. The hunter is out here with a little bit like on its back. It kind of, at first glance, you might think it's a longsword, but given the way it charges, it's probably a great sword. Either way, he kind of jumps towards it, swings towards it with the Wirebug, dashes away, and then preps a mid-air charge, which looks very kind of reminiscent of just like the aerial charge style for Greatsword. So that is very cool. The next weapon, we have this thing where you can of course see that you've basically used the Wirebug to grapple onto the monster, so you can almost like dash back evasively, grapple into them, and then pull yourself towards it, which looks very, very awesome. We then get a look at what I believe to be the Sword and Shield. You'll be forgiven for kind of missing this first because it happens very, very quickly, so if you don't pay close attention, but right at the very beginning of this animation, you can see that you're holding the sword, and of course you have a shield, and then the sword is then thrown out, and you're basically having the Wirebug connect to it and spin it around like what's kind of like a Kusarigama kind of thing, or just like a whip around you for like massive AoE damage. So the way that you're looking at this now, like if you kind of start to build a picture, I kind of get the impression that maybe like, you know, different weapons have different moves they can do with the Wirebug or something like that. But yeah, this is very cool. The very first time I saw it, I'm not gonna lie, like during the trailer, I was like, wait, is that the Wirebug used on its own? Is that a whip? But then again, when you look at it closer, you can see that there is the sword and shield right at the beginning. But either way, very, very awesome. Of course, the trailer then ends with the release date, March 26th, which again is incredibly exciting, 3 days before my birthday. And it did then, of course, go on to talk about the different versions of the game. There is, of course, the standard edition, digital or physical, loving the box art on this one, and there is a deluxe edition, which includes the full game, bundled with some extra things. You get this cool costume, which is a layered armor set, which is the Kamura armor set, which obviously also confirms that layered armor is going to be a thing in this game, which is really cool. That kind of obviously goes to imply that it will be layered and probably not transmog. So either way, a different way to customize your character. You then also have layered armor sets for your Palamute and for your Palico, which are basically just a regular cat and a dog. You get some gestures, you get a samurai pose, you get kabuki face paint, and you get the Izuchi tail hairstyle. So, for the time being, that is pretty much it in the trailer. Now, there is a lot more stuff I do want to talk about. I want to talk slightly more in depth about the new monsters, some of the armor, some of the weapons. So I'm going to spin that up into separate videos because this one's kind of gone on long enough for the time being, but this is just kind of a breakdown of the trailer we got. So if you guys want a little bit more context as to what you're seeing, then hopefully that sheds some light for you. So again, if you guys are excited, keep it locked. I've got more videos coming today. I want to kind of put out as many as I want to do today, and then we'll of course have more tomorrow and over the weekend. But if you guys are excited for this, if you're enjoying it, if you're hyped, then definitely stick around because it's going to be a busy day. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can join the Arekkz Gaming Discord. We've got an awesome community over there with so many different channels for you to chat loads of different topics and different games. I'm in there, the team's in there. If you guys want to chat with us, find people to play with, it's just in general a great place to be. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads.